Hello, everyone. So we're going to do a quick NPV calculation in Excel because as this series goes on, on business case and capital investment and the such, NPV becomes an important calculation. And this example is just how to mechanically do it in Excel. We're not going to get into all the factors like, you know, why would I choose 8% discount rate or 4%? We'll get in that in the future, but this is just literally how to do it in Excel. So what I like to do is to have all my cash inflows and outflows, um, you know, separated, and then I turn them into a net cash flow. So what I mean is I start here and I start with year, right? And then I run down starting with year 0, which is typically your investment period, and then I'll run it through, let's say this is, you're looking at a 10-year investment. I'll make this a little like that. I like to do that, and, this just makes it so we can read it a little bit better. There's year 0, and of course you're going to have outflows, and then, remember, this is cash. You have inflows, and then I like to do a net cash. Then you'll see why. And again, I'll center it here. You're probably hearing my mouse going. And then we'll total it. And I'm going to do two ways for you. I'm going to use the NPV function in Excel, and then I'm also going to do it manually. You'll see you'll get the exact same answer. But I've noticed that some people actually use the Excel function incorrectly, resulting in the wrong answer. So you'll see it both ways, and then you'll understand how to do it correctly. So cash outflow. So real simple. In year 0 we're going to invest $20,000. Actually, no, let's not invest $20,000. We're going to invest $10,000. Let's say, okay. And of course, this could be in a piece of equipment or something that's going to be productive. And then, of course, in year 0, we plan to have no inflow from it because that's an investment year. We're going by years. Of course, you can do this by months, but I'm doing this by year. And then your inflows after that it's estimated that it's going to result in a net cash inflow of $1,000 per year, all the way for the 10 years in the investment period. In the payoff period. So here you go. Here's your net. Here's that. I'll center it. And then let's get our net cash, which since it should be real simple, but net cash, of course, is outflows plus inflows. And run that down there. So there's your net cash. Now you notice if I sum this, let me change this into the into accounting. I happen to like this view a little more. Okay. If I sum that, you'll know. Oh, okay. And I'm going to make a change. In here you say, oh great, well I did 10, so it's balanced out. But I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to change these to 1500. Okay, because it's going to make it more clear why you're doing this. And as you can see, I'm doing this on the fly. So there you go. So now there's a net value there, which is 5,000. So somebody, if you didn't use NPV, somebody say, well, hey, I invest 10,000, and then in 10 years I make 5,000. Well, let's just assume that we'll do a required rate of return, okay, of like 5%. Okay. What that means is that that's somebody's return on this investment. They want to get a 5% annual return. Again, no discussion here as to why it's 5%. It's arbitrary. Later lessons are going to get into why it's 5%, but I'm using 5%. So what happens here then is we run a formula. You're going to have discount factor. Okay. Okay, and the factor is calculated as 1 divided by 1 plus your required rate of return, okay, to the power of what year? What year this cash flow is occurring? Okay, now the factor is 1, which is important to recognize that in year 1 it's current dollars, so the dollars aren't being discounted. Let's just make this so I can spin this sucker down. So obviously this needs to be frozen in place here, but nothing else needs to be. So then when I go and drag this down, you'll see these are my discount factors. Okay, and then your discounted cash of course, then is it equals the discount factor times the net cash flow for the year. And so again, that's year 0, so it should be 10. And then as we go down here, you do there. And now when I sum this, all right, sum this. So this gives you a positive discounted cash flow of $1,582.60. Now, just so you know, this is the NPV. Okay, we calculated it manually, the NPV manually. Okay. So here you're looking at these are the discounted cash flows for the year. And then when you sum it, that's your net present value, right? These are the present. So when I say discounted cash flows, this is the present value of that 1,500 inflow, net cash inflow in year 2. It's really only worth $1,360 currently. And that's because we required rate of return, or our discount is 5%. So you also notice if say I move that to 8, see how, notice that it changes drastically. 10%. Now you're looking at a negative. You wouldn't do the project. So you'll see as in future lessons what discount rate, required rate of return we use is very important. But again, this lesson here is simply how to mechanically calculate this. So now we know that is the NPV, and we calculated it manually. So if I wanted to calculate the NPV NPV using the formula, okay, and I say Excel formula, I'll just say formula from Excel, okay. It's quite simple. So you would say equals, and you'd say NPV, right? And there's your function. And then the first input to the function is the rate of return, and this is annual. Always be aware, we are doing this by year, so it's okay. If we were not doing this by year, of course, and say these were months, you would have to then turn the annual rate into a monthly rate. And then you look at your values. Now your values are your net cash. Now this is where a lot of people would make a mistake. You do not include your year 0 in the function, in the formula. You only include year 1 through your last year, which is 10. Okay. And then you add your year 0. Your year 0, the reason why you're adding your year 0 is because, again, this is the current year. There is no discounting. And this is just unfortunately the way the NPV formula works. It doesn't seem intuitive. And in fact, I've seen many people in the profession, in the workplace, just NPV the whole number, the whole series, including year 0, and they actually get an incorrect answer. And you do that, and as you can see, I get the correct answer. That is the net present value of this cash flow, of this net cash flow. And for example purposes, let's do it incorrectly, right? Let's say I go and say, oh, I just used the formula and it wants my cash flows. So I go in there and I choose all cash flows, including my year 0 cash flow. And their answer is wrong, as you can see. It's close because these numbers aren't large, but the answer is wrong. And the reason why the answer, of course, is wrong is because the Excel formula is counting the first entry as year 1, and they start to discounting in year 1. Where, as I pointed out earlier, year 0 you do not want to discount. So let me just undo that so we can have the right answer again. And again, so if you're using the formula, right, you NPV, starting in the formula, you go starting with year 1. So the first number in the series, it's going to discount as year 1. And then of course your investment year, just add it in, or really you're subtracting it. But I always show an outflow, or a net cash as a negative is an outflow. So that's the two ways you can do it. Clearly using the formula is the easiest, but I wanted to show you manually and then show you the formula, that you get the same answer, and if you do the NPV formula correctly, you get the correct answer. But I will caution that when you see out in the profession, or somebody's presenting an investment case and they use the formula, I would look at it and I would say, hey, I would make sure that they did not start discounting year 0. So that's it. This is real simple on how to mechanically calculate an NPV. We did not get into why we would choose a particular rate of return, why I only had one outflow, why didn't I have another inflow, an additional inflow for salvage value or such things like that. The whole purpose of this was just how to mechanically do it in Excel. We're going to get into that in the future lessons. So I hope you like it, and please drop a comment if you like it. If you have a question, my email will be on the comment section in the YouTube. You can go ahead and email me. If you're having an NPV issue or an Excel issue, email me and see if I can help you. All right, take care, guys.